Hello, hello. Hi, everyone.
We're so glad to have you here. We have tons of exciting new stuff to talk about with our big Q2 release. We're going to take you through everything from design to KendoReact, Kendo UI for Angular, Vue, and jQuery today. We're going to be starting off today with our design updates, and then we'll take about 15 minutes, maybe another 15, 20 on React. That's going to be about the same for each one of these chunks. So React, then Angular, followed by Vue and jQuery. So look forward to it all. Each one has some exciting new stuff that we are super thrilled to share with you. So let's kick things off with a big, exciting update on our design side. Now, if you attended, yeah, exactly, throw it down. This is big, this is cool. So if you attended our last webinar, then this might not be a total surprise to you, because in Q1, we did go ahead and roll out a new SaaS setting called Kendo Enable Color System that turns on our new dynamic color system. And we warned you that in May, this was going to become the default. And here we are. The time is now. We're really excited to officially transition over to this new color system. It's going to make it much easier, especially for folks that are using different varieties of our Kendo components. So if you've got a project in React, you've got a project in Angular, everything's going to be super smooth on the styling front between the two of them. It's also going to be super fluent across all of our themes. So again, if you've got something that's in default, you've got something that's in Fluent, you're going to be able to easily move back and forth between the two, reuse stylings. It makes design system implementation super easy. I don't want to give away too much, because our friend Plamen's going to come on later. He has a very cool demo that he's going to show during the Vue portion. He's gone ahead and implemented this. You can see a little sneak peek in this GIF here of what he's been working on to implement with our Vue components. So I don't want to take the wind out of his sails too much. I'm going to let him really lead the demo front on that. But an exciting little teaser. Definitely stay tuned. Even if you're not usually someone who watches the Vue section, you might want to stay in for this one just to catch this very cool demo. We also have updated our design system documentation. That's something that we're going to do every release, just to make sure that it's staying up to date with new components. We're always expanding it, growing it. If you follow this QR code, this will take you to our design system documentation. You can also find all the information on the color system there as well. So if you're looking to take a deep dive into everything that's new on the design side of things, and remember that that is universal. Our design updates apply across no matter what framework you're using, no matter what tech. So all of our web techs are going to be supported by the design documentations. So definitely go ahead and check that out. Again, similarly, we have made our updates to the Figma kits. So if you have designers on your team or are looking to really up your design game, the Figma kits are a great way to do that. They represent all of our components in Figma. So you can make sure that you're building your prototypes, you're designing your layouts with exact one-to-one components that are going to match what's in our component libraries perfectly, removing that kind of back and forth of like, oh, we made this component and we thought, you could just do it. Your designers will already know what's possible. They'll know what features all of your components have, and they'll be able to design pretty much pixel perfect. Those get updated with every release, again, to reflect new components and changes in functionality within the libraries. So give them a scope if you haven't before. And of course, to follow on with our new color system support, that's supported in ThemeBuilder as well. There's no way we could roll this out and not have it backed up in ThemeBuilder. So we have support for the new Telerik Kendo UI theme color systems. So you'll get a much more streamlined customization process. It includes all of those themes that you already know and love, our default material, Bootstrap, Fluent, and it's going to make it, again, especially if you're using ThemeBuilder, it makes it a breeze for design system management. Really easy with all of those tokens and applying your CSS variables, creating that like one-to-one connection. This is available to all your ThemeBuilder users. You'll see it updated when you reload the app. ThemeBuilder has also got a very cool update, a code editor. So for those of you that maybe find it easier to code, sometimes relearning like a WYSIWYG layout can be a little challenging. It's like, I wish I could just open the code and make this change myself, right? I've said that a billion times, and now you can. So you can edit your CSS now directly inside the theme builder, and that will still live update. You can view your theme styles and your customizations side by side. It's going to make it way easier for you to customize components. If you don't like to write CSS, you don't have to use it. All of those same drop downs, all of that WYSIWYG editing is still going to be right there. So if you have folks on your team that are not super comfortable writing code, or you really just don't want to get your hands in the CSS, that's still fine. But if you are one of those people that's like, just let me edit it, we now have this option for you. We also have styling component appearance options. So all your button and text box component variants, all of that's going to be through a single streamlined user interface. You can create custom component versions that you need with different appearances. So if you want to make different varieties of your buttons with different border radii, different stylings, all of that kind of stuff. Again, we've really streamlined this. It's going to feel nice and easy. We also have a new option to add prefixes to your variables. So this is especially great if you have an established system already that you're integrating ThemeBuilder into. Not all of us get to work from greenfield projects all the time, right? So maybe you already have some kind of prefix that you're using with all of your styles. You can now go ahead and throw that in. This is also great if you want to keep your ThemeBuilder styles designated a little bit separately, right? So we can see in the example here, the TB prefix has been applied, so you'll get everything TB dash whatever your class names are. That just helps to organize your styles, keep everything super streamlined, see at a glance what's coming from ThemeBuilder, or if you have something, you can go ahead and match it, right? So if you had different app styles prefixed in different ways, you can make sure that what's getting exported from ThemeBuilder is going to blend super smooth with the code that you already have. No more manual renaming. We also have exporting and mapping Figma variable modes. So you can now export the new color and number or metric in ThemeBuilder modes and work with them there. So that allows you to map really quickly between what you're importing from Figma and your variables that you're working with in ThemeBuilder. It's going to make it, again, just a little bit more seamless, just a little bit easier. Ease that flow as we're moving from design to development, making it less likely to have any errors or any misunderstandings in that handoff process. We also have some color and size variable modes. So color modes are going to allow you to define multiple color palettes. So things like light and dark mode, now super, super easy. Metrics are going to allow you to create sets of size variations. So you could do that yourself. Maybe you give the user the options to do that, right? Things like maybe some people need an extra large layout. They want to increase their button size, large text mode kind of thing. All of that now, you can preset modes in ThemeBuilder and control all of that from one centralized hub. This one is one that I was also very excited about, which seems silly because it is just generic HTML elements. But the thing that's really cool about this is that it lets you keep all of your styles within ThemeBuilder. So go ahead and style those paragraph tags, those headers, your lists, your images, all of that kind of stuff that's going to be part of a design system anyway, right? All of that can now be styled in ThemeBuilder and exported along with the rest of your ThemeBuilder styles, which is going to make it easy and fun. We had a couple other quick ThemeBuilder improvements, some better editing for AIPrompt, support for more than 500 component-specific variables, and the ability to export only selected component styles. So if you were feeling like those ThemeBuilder exports were like a little bit chunky, maybe you didn't need all of that, you can now go ahead and slim it down. Or this is also great if you just made updates to a specific set of your ThemeBuilder components. You now don't need to re-export everything. You can just export whatever you've selected, making it much more manageable. Whew. Blitzed through it. we're on a timetable here. We're moving. Let's talk KendoReact for a minute, and let's kick it off with a poll. So, do you plan to use React server components in the next 12 months, the next year? So
I'm really curious about this one.
me too, especially, right? We have React 19 stable release just around the corner. We got the RC announcement at Reactconf, which was super exciting. So more and more frameworks are building these in. It used to be just a Next.js game, not so much anymore. And of course, we have Kendo server components, which I'll talk about in just a moment. So we want to know, are you already using them? Are you thinking about it, researching, planning, not sure? Have you never heard of this in your life? Also completely valid. Or you know what it is and you're just not interested. All right. Yeah, I think a bunch of folks already kind of using, already researching, feeling it out. That's definitely most folks that I've talked to are in that like just researching phase. Handful of folks with no plans, but that's okay. Not all of you are writing React either. Let's jump into some KendoReact updates. First off, new components. We have a new AIPrompt component that is going to enable your users to execute tasks leveraging all those intuitive AI commands with their brand new KendoReact AIPrompt. So basically, it'll let you hook this up to your AI engine of choice and can generate responses, including several preset like UI options for things like writing prompts or predefined commands. Like just honestly makes it super, super easy. Gives you a really clean, really modern interface to interact with AI services, makes it easy for developers to implement. If you have been maybe thinking about dipping your toe into the AI space and haven't yet, this is a really good way to kind of test it out, get going, play around a bit. We also, as warned, have server components in KendoReact now. This is something that our team has been really excited about and has been working really hard on, and they are really great. This is a new place for us. We don't have every single component in server component versioning yet, and it won't make sense to do every single component either, right? But we're focusing on the ones where you'll see the most benefit, and one of those is the server component, right? Or the the DataGrid server component. Can't speak. So because this is still experimental, it will stay experimental until React 19 becomes stable, right? We are really interested in hearing your thoughts on it. So if you try it out, share your thoughts on GitHub, drop us a line in our support forum. We really want to hear about how you're using it, if it's meeting your needs, if this is something you're interested in, if you'd like to see more of server components in KendoReact. Truly, truly cannot emphasize how much we are genuinely interested in your feedback, always, but especially on this front. So if you have had a chance to play with them already, or if you're going to, please do let us know. We would love to hear. We have another new component here, the thank you chart. This enables you to easily create diagrams that will visualize changing flows and their distributions between domains. So really good for things like website traffic or budget breakdowns, energy flow. You can kind of see how each column will split into the sub-columns here, makes it really easy to track. And it, of course, like all of our charts, is interactive, will highlight things as you roll over them, and is accessible. We also have a new integration that we're excited to share with Next.js. So you can now take full advantage of Next.js while you're using our KendoReact libraries. We have a quick start kind of guide here, right? All of our components are fully compatible with Next.js. They've all been tested. Some adaptations have been made to ensure that they're going to work really efficiently with server-side rendering and with the Next.js framework. So if you are spinning up a new app and you're taking a look at Next.js, you can feel comfortable using KendoReact knowing that's all going to go super smoothly. We even have a targeted getting started guide to help you speed that process along, make it super smooth and seamless. Similarly, if you are looking for something a little lighter on the framework front, maybe not looking to jump into something like Next.js, you want a little bit more control, a little more manual customization. We also have getting started guides for Vite. So feel free to check that out. Again, we want to support however you're building your React apps. We want to make sure you're meeting you where you are and offering services that are helpful to how you're building your apps. We know lots of people love Vite, and we do too. So check out our Get Started guide if that sounds like a fit for you. Our DataGrid and actually several of our components have improved accessibility in this release. Specifically with the DataGrid, we have in-cell selection, shortcuts for column reordering, footer cell accessibility with screen readers, new keyboard handlers, and a few more. So if you want the deep dive on that, go ahead and check out the docs here. I've linked them via QR code. We also have some enhanced selection happening in our DataGrid as well as custom icons. So you can go ahead and check those out. It's going to do things like improved accessibility for the selection checkbox, reorder your drag selection fixes, virtual scrolling selection updates, and then you can add column menu icons based on your user preferences, how you want to go ahead and customize just to make this feel as custom and as unique as possible, make it fit as smoothly as possible with the rest of your brand design and your application. DataGrid now also enables you to perform all standard clipboard operations from and to the grid using the system clipboard. So copy, cut, paste, everything you would come to expect. Got a little GIF there showing how that works. Yeah, it's as exciting as cut, copy, and paste.
I always forget that you're a GIFer, not a GIFer. It always takes me by surprise.
Oh yeah, I know that's a controversial topic, but I will stand by GIF until the day that I die. We also have improved date editing in our date range picker component. So things like a new clear button, allow reverse Boolean property, let them select a start date after the end date or vice versa, swap that around. Better week selection behavior when you're using range selection and more. Again, all of that you can find in our documentation. There's also a wonderful What's New in KendoReact guide. So you can scope that with all of these links if there are any that you're interested in learning a little bit more about that I maybe didn't have the time to deep dive on because we always have to keep things moving so fast in these webinars. A couple updates to our calendar. We have some improved date editing, a new header template, a new weekdays format option, as well as the possibility to show dates not just from the current, but also the previous and the next months. The first one only in the calendar, the next one calendar and the multi-view. All of our charts have enhanced legend item configuration. So you can customize not just the color, but also the marker. You can see here the series 1, 2, 3, and 4, how those are marked differently there in the legend. And new trendline options in our trendline chart specifically. So linear, exponential, logarithmic, power, polynomial, moving average. Don't ask me what a polynomial trendline does, how or why you would use it. Can't answer that for you, but I am proud that we offer it. Our inputs and dropdowns now have prefix and suffix support. So if you're not familiar, when we talk about prefixes and suffixes within our components, we're talking about pieces of the UI that come kind of before and after. So in this case, you can see that like location marker and the pin icon, right? Those are prefixing and suffixing custom adornments that you can add now. And that applies to all of our input and drop-down components. So text area, text box, numeric text box, mask text box, multi-select combo box, multi-column combo box, and autocomplete.
So I will say this, it's fresh on my brain. These are not the same, like the support isn't even for all of the different flavors just yet. So key, it's like I think there's 6 for Angular, and then there's like almost like 9 or 10 for jQuery. So how many was that for yours? Was that just now?
3,
that
6, 8.
8. Okay. So varying amounts, and I think
rolling them out. Yeah.
roll them out.
As always, if you are interested in a little bit of a deeper dive, you want to see us actually play with some code, run some demos, look at implementing some of these, you want to ask us questions about implementation specifically, really just a chance for us to use these components and for you to see us get into the code and play with how they work specifically. I really want you to join us for our Twitch stream on Code It Live. That'll be on June 17th. Where Alyssa and I will be implementing some of these components and really playing around, getting our hands dirty. Less slideshows, more coding and screen sharing, which I think everyone likes, right? And of course, if you are interested in what else is coming this year and into the future, you can always check out our roadmap. The QR code links there. The link is listed as well there below. See what's coming, and if you have something that you want to see us work on, we would love to hear your suggestions. We take that very seriously, and what you guys request does have a direct influence on the roadmap and the components that we choose in the future. So scope it out and voice an opinion if you've got one. We would love to hear from you. All right, that just about wraps it up for me on the design and React front. I think I'm pretty much on time too, right? Because we started at 11, so nailed it.
Excellent. But hello and howdy, Alyssa Nicoll here. I'm on the DevRel team at Progress. If you've never met me, it is good to meet you. And I'm very excited to talk next about the Kendo UI Angular updates. So I wanted to flash this up. This is the most important part. There's a couple other steps that I'll show, but I actually updated an app last week from, it was Angular version 15 to 18. And because I use Kendo UI all the time, a lot of my Kendo UI and Kendo UI dependencies had to be updated along the way. And so I just wanted to remind you, because this is like the perfect place, hey, remove your node modules and your package lock, and then this npx command is clutch for finding out what needs to be upgraded. It saved me a lot of time, and then reinstall all the things. But as Kathryn mentioned, I remember last time we did this, there were some requests for more detailed live coding or just coding in general with the specific features and components. So June 17th on our Code It Live channel, as she mentioned, that's where you're going to get that itch scratched. So we're going to spend all the time just coding and playing around with the new components and features. So yes, please come and join us. I know this is more of a brief walkthrough of things, but can you imagine if we played around with all of them? We'd be here. It'd be a long webinar. So
We'd be here for hours, days maybe.
All right, so there are two things I highlighted here. I usually only highlight the blog post. So that blog post with the bit.ly in orange or the QR code that you can scan, it links to Kathryn, like Kathryn said, her stuff, my stuff. It has a table of contents and even the Telerik updates on their side. So check out that blog post if you want to follow along, or you can just sit back for the ride. I also wanted to link in our change log because as Angular grows and changes more and more, it can be a little, it's getting more important that you're aware of like, okay, what version do I need to be on? When did that thing drop? So here's our change log. Our developers keep it up to date and they do a great job. Here is an overview of the components and features. This is what we're going to be covering, a brief overview today, and then on June 17th, we're going to deep dive into these and use them. But yeah, let's get to the new components. So I believe we have 4 brand new components on the Angular side of Kendo UI, the rating component being the first one we're going to talk about. So this one enables users to leave a rating, as one would expect, and they can modify not just by clicking on the icons, but also with arrow keys, and they can select the rating. And it includes multiple customization options, which really enables you to tailor it based on your application's specific needs. So I'm very excited about the rating component. We're going to have fun playing around with that one on the 17th. So come hang out with us. The next component we're going to be talking about is the timeline component. So this component enables you to display a series of events, and you can either do it vertically or horizontally. There's multiple templates and customizing of the events and styles. But yes, it basically lets you show a series of events and their associated data in chronological order for each year. And there's a little screenshot of it in action. So he's very beautiful and he's very hefty. I used to get very confused on our documentation and how to find the specific thing that I was looking for. So for all of these, I also like spelled it out in green. So it's like in our docs, it's /component/layout/timeline. So underneath layout is where you're going to find this new one. The AI prompt component. I know some of these are duplicates across many of ours, and as you know, we try to keep all of our Kendo UI flavors feature and component compatible, and they roll out at different times, but we also got the AI prompt component in this release. So the AI prompt is focused on providing users with a modern interface to interact with AI services. So in this case, I think I have one coming up. Yeah. I have one for you to see. So this is a GIF, if you can see, you click on and then you start filling out part of this, like the box, and then it will autofill for you. So in this case, the AI prompt is being used to generate copy for an email. But as you can imagine, it can be used in many, many different use cases for whatever your application needs. And you can customize the actions in the toolbar, like display a custom button, for instance, based on your app's needs as well. So yes. All right, before we get to our next new component, I'd like to do a poll, if you will. Very excited.
There are 3 options you can choose: ng modules, standalone components, or a combination of both.
And not only am I super curious about this, but our developers are very curious about this. As the ecosystem more and more supports standalone, that is the reality that we're going to be looking at for Angular. The only question is when, right? The pacing of how fast we move over. And it's on the top of our developers' minds. They don't want to leave anyone in the lurch. And I'm actually going to talk about versioning because Angular is going through such a time of growth. You're never unable to use Kendo UI. Let's say you're stuck on version 15 like I was for a while. You're never unable to use Kendo UI. You just need to be cognizant of which versions fall off when. And so I'll show you that. I have a slide coming up to talk about that. But yes, what were the results? I'm so excited, Kathryn.
Mostly standalone components, it looks like, followed by a combination of both, with ng modules in 3rd place. But
nice.
Pretty split, it looks like, between standalone and combination, which makes sense, I think, right?
Yeah, no, I think the hybrid view or the hybrid way is a really good way forward because it enables you to start to futurize your app while also allowing you to still use perhaps dependencies that need modules still, things like that. So I love it. I love that so many are moving towards it. I'm very excited for this bright Angular future. All right, let's continue on down the path. We have the Sankey diagram is the next one. I was like, I have some pictures for you. So I'm going to talk about it for a second and then we'll show you. It enables you to easily create this visually changing flow diagram, and you got a sneak peek of it when React was up, but it is really ideal for use cases like website traffic usage or budget breakdowns, energy flow. Here she is in all her glory, and this is a GIF of me hovering, and it's going to loop because I hover really fast, apologies, but essentially you have male and female, and then they're split into different categories based on tablet usage, and then over on the right-hand side, you see the top one is less than 18 years old, and then the rest of the age groups. And you see that for each tablet, mobile, desktop. That is a really, really interesting way, honestly, of viewing data. So very excited to add that to our charts collection. We're going through updates now. I have a couple of demos that I'm going to pull up sporadically, but I don't know if you saw that. You remember that list I showed you? It was like I don't know, the team went crazy this release and they just so many updates. So and I don't honestly know that I cover every single one. A really good way to know what has been updated is these little updated tags or new tags in the documentation next to whenever you're scrolling through our docs, you'll see the new and the updated bits. So that can be helpful to highlight, especially if you're like, I want to implement the latest stuff at work, right? So the grid updates, so there's quite a few, so bear with me. The ability to programmatically expand or collapse a specific group inside the grid with virtual scrolling. New scroll to item and consistent scroll to method. A revised error messaging. And then the last one, 2 new methods to programmatically expand or collapse all root level groups in a virtual scrolling grid. Those methods are called expand all and collapse all. And you'll see here on the UI side where you are like a button is basically utilizing those methods, and you'll see the expanding and the collapsing, and that's a virtual scrolling grid. If you want to go play with that demo right now, you absolutely can. There is the full path to it inside of components, grids, and then scroll modes. So yes, I think that was all our grid updates, but I may have like sprinkled one later on. We'll see. Next is the pivot grid update 2. We have a cell template and a count aggregate. Aggregate, that one's
Aggregate. Yeah, you nailed it. You got it.
So the Kendo UI Angular Pivot Grid now offers cell template and enables you to customize all pivot grid cells or format the displayed cell data. Additionally, you can now utilize a count aggregate as part of the predefined built-in aggregates available in the component. I have a little screenshot. She might be a little too tiny, but there is, if you go underneath Pivot Grid, there is a new section /aggregates that you can read more and play with it. The next component that got updates was the scheduler. I think I have multiple steps on this guy. So the new all-day slot configuration, which screenshotted here, not a GIF, but the Kendo UI Angular calendar, oops, sorry, that should say scheduler, is now enhanced with an all-day slot configuration, enabling users to control the visibility, show, hide state of all-day slots. And then I think we're going to get, now we're to calendar. I have a demo coming up very soon. And so you'll have to let me know, Kathryn, if I'm doing an in-browser code sandbox. So if it's too small and you can't read it, but we'll play around with, with the scheduler in a second. The calendar has multiple updates, and that is a QR code that's going to take you to, I think I've got one. Yes, we'll talk about it at the very end. So let's talk about the updates and then I'll take you into it. So you have the ability to show or hide dates from previous or next month. There's revamped selection. There was actually quite a bit that happened with selection, a new range and reversed range selection, multiple and range selection support, and then 2 new templates added to the list of available templates, header and footer. And then this last one, which is where we're going to go right now, we shall traverse together, talks about the weekday format option. You're like, what is happening? We're going out of slides. It will be fine. Okay, so can you read that? Is that?
That looks pretty good to me. You can maybe bump it up one more, but
let's see. Can we?
Okay. Pretty good. Yeah, there we go.
So here we have the calendar and we have the weekdays format here, and that's a new option. And essentially the calendar before now would just default to short. And so I have, let me show you, short, save. So here you see the calendar, it says SU, MO, TU, and that's not very intuitive, at least not for me and what I'm used to seeing on calendars. And so now there's 2 additional options. You saw the first one of narrow, which just is the first letter. And to me, that looks not only cleaner, but more intuitive. For some reason, I see SU and I'm like, what is SU? Like it takes me a second to catch up. So there's the narrow option. There's also the abbreviated option, which is a much more natural abbreviation of these words. SU in for Sunday, MO in for Monday. So a small change, but honestly, a lot of these changes are this easy to use and all about not only the developer experience, because yes, of course, you could yourself programmatically change this, and you probably do for a lot of custom features that you need within our components. But the more features that we can account for, the less grunt work there is for you, and the more time to work on the things that you're truly passionate about. So I love this little demo, but all of the green links that I have for all of these new features are this cool and this easy to use. So definitely suggest go check it out. Another word of wisdom, we have in all of our documentations the drop down that says open in StackBlitz or open in Code Sandbox. And I love the team at StackBlitz. This is not a knock on them, but I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's related to Angular v17, v18 and the new rendering engine. I'm not honestly sure what's going on, but our load time in StackBlitz is over a minute, whereas it's like 10 seconds in Code Sandbox. So if you're gonna open and play with our code, for now at least, definitely recommend going over to Code Sandbox. I'm not sure what's gonna go on. I do know the guys over there, and I might reach out just to, I don't know. I'm like really curious because I don't think there's anything we did on our end. So I'm like, what should you do? But we'll see.
I'm cracking up the idea of you sending an email like, excuse me, what's going on?
Like, I love you guys, but also okay, so we're gonna pop back over. I think we have, yeah, we've got more slides before the next demo. That is the QR code again to that Code Sandbox, but the documentation will also take you there. All right, the next one, support for Angular 18. I made this slide with all of my designer gumption for you all. You're welcome.
It's lovely.
It's beautiful. I know. I knew you'd love it. So I wrote a blog post talking about all of my favorite features for Angular 18. And if you're thinking to yourself, Alyssa, how could Angular 18 compete? 17 was amazing. You gotta go read. There's a lot of cool, but I am here to announce in this webinar that we are compatible with Angular 18 and the latest features. So please go check it out. And this is the part of the show where I promised it was coming. In NPM, when you pull up any of our components. So this is a screenshot of our Angular grid component. But if you pull up any of our components and you go over to the versions tab, you will see the tags listed out below. And as promised earlier in the stream, when talking about updating and versioning and potentially not being able to be on the latest, honestly, like 95% of developers are not on the latest, like they just can't be. So here's where you will see what version of that component or of Kendo UI in general is basically supporting what version of Angular. And so that will let you know, okay, if I'm stuck on 14, I need to have in my package JSON this specific version of the grid or of the button or whatever. So that is a good thing to just mentally log going forward. You will never not be able to use Kendo UI. You just need to be cognizant of what version you can use. Because the changes are so big, we cannot continue to carry everything, as most of you know. If you're doing a standalone migration, you know sometimes hybrid works, sometimes you can't, sometimes you just can't. So, and one day we will be looking at, once everyone moves to a hybrid or a standalone world, we will be looking at modules just not working very well with the new stuff. And so this is just something to keep in mind, to be able to reference and check out. But back for more. The spreadsheet has multiple updates, so I'm going to bullet point those out. The spreadsheet's action bar and sheets bar have been enhanced with multiple capabilities, helping you save time and, of course, improve productivity. And if you're like me and you go to the docs, you like /spreadsheet /context menu, and you like pull up the demo. I was so special, Kathryn. I was like, there is no context menu here. What are they talking about? I even like opened it up locally. You have to right click as one does.
That is what a context menu is, I fear.
I was like, lies. This is all lies. There's no, you gotta right click, guys. So if you pull up the Code Sandbox, or if you pull it up in our docs themselves, just right click and then you'll be able to see all the beautiful features. But I'm gonna zoom in on those real quick for you. So the spreadsheet also now has this context menu as one of the new features. And it has capabilities such as copy and paste content from the clipboard directly into the cells or vice versa. And the ability to like fine tune rows and column appearance. So yes, if you pull this up, don't forget to right click. All right. The developers are probably like, really? It's fine. It's totally fine. All right. So the scheduler, continuing on with multiple enhancements for the scheduler, and I think I'm at the end of this, we'll have a little demo. I made them very cheesy, so forgive me, but I thought it'd be fun to do like one of those game show host voice or like salesman voice now with a convenient ear view, right? Like, so
I see the vision. Yeah.
Thank you. So now with a convenient year view, enabling you to display the events in a 12-month period. Also now with customizable visible range of timeline, timeline week, and timeline month view. Simply set the number of days, weeks, or months for each respective view that you would like. Now with new styling options, so even more easy like little APIs to access the appearance of the schedulers, events, and slots. And drum roll, please. I don't know why I was so excited about this one. That's why I put it last. Now with drag and drop, enabling users to create new events by dragging items from an external UI components and like dropping them on selected time slots. So let's go. Yes, we are demo ready. Okay. This one, I wanted to show you. Yes, you can put it in Code Sandbox or Stacklets, but it also works in browser in our documentation. I'm just like super zoomed in on this for you. You're welcome. So here we have a list of available deliveries, and then we have these two delivery people, John and Nick. So we can like drag onto the schedule and we scroll down, and it's asking us this because it's a new event. And so we can customize all of that, of course. But then also the drag and drop doesn't stop there. It's also internally within the scheduler where you're like, oh no, Nick called in sick. So John is now going to have to do all of the deliveries, right? But because those weren't new events, you don't have the immediate pop-up. But double clicking into it to edit is always an option. So yeah, that is my.
You're right.
That's my very brief demo. You're very welcome. But again, I will link to the docs and you can play around with all of these yourself and maybe implement some today. The clipboard is the next update we're going to talk about for the grid. The Kendo UI grid for Angular now enables you to perform all standard clipboard operations from the grid system clipboard. I think this is a GIF. Yes, you can see the keyboard commands like Control-C. So it's very hard to get across in GIF form or any type of streaming form. I guess you'd have to have like a camera on your keyboard, which I've actually tried, Kathryn, like on a stream before to like to show, because I think we were doing like key navigation programming, and so I wanted to like I wanted a side camera of like my key, because I don't. Yeah, but this is, you know, the little bottom part is as well. So the grid clipboard supports the following keyboard options, and I'm going to list them all out. If you go into grid/accessories/clipboard, that's where you can see these. But copy selected or focused content, cut selected or focused content, and then paste the clipboard content are the three. Charts, you got a little spoiler of that one. Updated legend items configuration. So now you have more flexibility when customizing the style of charts legend items, being able to customize not only the color, but also the shape of the marker indicating the series. The chart trend lines have new trend line options. So there was quite a few before, but we have even more now. So we have the exponential trend line, logarithmic trend line, and the power trend line, as well as the polynomial one. And so yes, a lot of existing trend line options, and now we have even more. So check it out under charts, elements, and trend lines in our documentation. We got prefix and suffix support, but as I barged in on Kathryn's part of the stream and mentioned, it's not equally out for everything. So For Angular, Kendo UI Angular inputs that got prefix and suffix support, the masked text box, numeric text box, the combo box, the multi-column combo box, the multi-select, and last but not least, autocomplete. There is a screenshot of this, but I thought it would be fun, like, to just throw a bunch of really ugly code on the screen that doesn't have its highlighting. You're welcome. This is a component with inline styles and an inline template. And so it's all, it's just two parts. It basically wouldn't all fit on the slide. But you'll see here on the left-hand side, I have a Kendo masked text box. And it below that has an NG template. If you are new to Angular, you're joining us. Hello, welcome. Anytime you see ng template, it just means I'm going to do something custom here. Watch out. So inside ng template, we have that new directive Kendo prefix template, vowel guy, who is allowing this functionality. And you'll see right now that it's displaying Visa in the styles. We have Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, but that's because all the way down at the bottom of the right-hand side, we have the values defaulting to Visa, but there is the drop-down with the array of list data, so it could be Visa, MasterCard, or PayPal, and would match up based on the class that it was given. So this is just a really quick little demo guy that I wanted to like break down and show you. Just me essentially trying to fit in some live coding while not live coding. But I love you all. I appreciate your feedback. I don't know if there were any questions. I can check once I get out of full screen mode, but I can say firsthand that I have witnessed many a component and many a feature that were brought into our library because of requests from people just like you. So please, please, please send us your feedback if you have any. And then is Plamen in the house? Plamen in the house.
We're ready for Plamen.
Hey, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Thank you for having me again for the view things. You are great so far. Great of cool new stuff as usual.
I'm super excited to see your color systems grid. Your demo, sorry.
I will keep it for
Spoilers.
the. So I'll be really quick for the view because you already showed some of the things that we have. And then I'll go quickly for our demos and to show you what I did today. I just had an idea that I can just show a really nice demo with Vue and the new team's capabilities. So that's why I did it for you guys. So here is what we have for Vue. For the first thing, I put the Kendo team's cover system, and I actually just now added the Alyssa doc. I like very much.
I was just thinking that looks awfully familiar.
I
Oh,
feel
man.
so honored. And also, doesn't it make you just like, it hypes me up. Anytime I see it, still to this day, I'm like, yes.
Makes me wish I put it in my slides.
I put the right here because I honestly think this is the most important thing from this release. It's a huge effort. I'll show you in a bit more things about it. It's from our front end team. So kudos for this huge upgrade for all the Kendo suites. So the next thing is the rating component, the Spunky chart, AIPrompt. You already showed a lot of cool things about it. I'll be really quick not to make the people bored. Then we have rendering changes, chart updates as you guys as well as a drawer component updates. So first one is our rating component. It was quite waited from our Vue customers because it was the last input that we wanted to add in our huge suite with inputs. It's a very flexible. It has a precision, RTL support, navigation. Also have the possibilities for custom icons and accessibility as usual. The spunky diagram, it shows the flows that you can have for the website, and it can be very flexible. By the way, you can customize the notes, the links, the labels, rearrange them. It also has a legend title tooltip. Also, this cool feature, auto layout. I think I'll show it a little bit after that. Just and the AI component, we just strive to have this cool new component for all our suites that can be really helpful if you want to showcase something with the IE and just to have it already designed by our great designers and ready for your framework of choice. this is just an update that we work closely with ThemeBuilder, and we strive to have our rendering for all the suites together done, and we do a huge effort for that, so that all our flavors are with the same rendering can be easily used in the ThemeBuilder. And I'll just go for the demos. I just can't wait for them. So the first thing, I'll just go here for demos to show some other things that you guys didn't show us before. We have the rating component. I think it's all with all our libraries, but we have the necessary things for us. Not all of the ratings out there or open source ratings have all of these. We have the keyboard navigation, the disabled, read-only states, icons, and precisions. These things are small ones at first, but these make the component complete. So you can check it and have it ready for you guys. The IE component, just to show you how it actually could work. This is, for example, we want to fill some email, and we ask him some question to generate it for us. So we can go on, copy the thing, and it's here for us. It's kind of a cool demo if you didn't see it so far. Here is our drawer component that has already the ability to have header and footer. That was much wanted feature from us. And and the spunky component. I'll just go really quick in that. So here is the flow, and you can highlight them and change them. For example, I'll just show the auto layout. I think we have it all. If we change the auto layout, it can be ordered depending on your choice. So that's something very cool. And here is the time to go to our design system. That's actually, I think, the cherry of our release. And if you guys know this site or you haven't been there, to everybody, I just recommend go and try to read what's written here. It's actually a masterpiece for everybody. Here we have everything explained, like the colors that we use, the spacing, the iconography, everything behind this logic. Here is the cool demo that I tried to mimic for Vue, that we can update now our colors based on CSS variables. Here is the basic concepts like our color palettes, our swatches, how to use them, how not to use them. Here are some guidelines that even if you think you are great in design, you'll probably pick something for you and you'll learn something. It's like a little encyclopedia for design, also written in a cool manner, not boring.
Plamen, are you trying to say something? I feel like that was very targeted. Like, even if you think you're great at design. Like...
No, I just read it and thought this about me. And so I just go and check these guys. And here is my quick demo. I want to mimic that for Vue because Vue has a very cool features regarding to the CSS variables. Let me just zoom a little bit. Here is what we have. It's a cool website built in Vite. I just added Vite, installed after that the Sass, so we can use Kendo Sass themes added here in the CSS, our default theme. And the new stuff that we changed, actually, that's actually why we changed things, that we can change the color very easy by using CSS variables. For example, we have easily added colors. They are carefully collected so that we update all the needed parts of the component based on the design that we want to achieve. So here are several swatches that show like a blue swatch, main swatch, or green swatch. And just having these CSS variables could help us change all our theme and swatch with one click on our page. Here is, for example, when we click this one, all the themes for these components are changed. Just a quick note about this one. Before this huge change, in order to achieve this, we needed to build a separate theme that was quite not an easy task. And a lot of customers needed this change. So we targeted this update. It's a huge one, months of tons of work. So kudos to all the team again. Here, for example, we have a black team. And here is the cool thing with Vue, by the way. Are you ready? Do you have this in your frameworks?
I'm so excited. I'm so ready.
Okay, if you go to the Vue documentation, we have this cool vbind that is working with the single file component. So what's that working? If you have a style on your in your component, you can just bind it to a variable in the JavaScript and it change it is without anything else. So I want to try it with our new capabilities, and it actually worked great. Here is our app, and I just added our color picker so that I choose the new color, and here is the value that is color, and we actually go and have this color value that is something new, and after that in our styles below we can just use this vbind from Vue and have it applied to all of the components. I used only the primary color here, but it can be done for all the colors there. So here is our color picker. We just pick one, and all of the primary colors are changed immediately. No bundling, everything is set as variables. It's a huge update. I'll be waiting for new new scenarios in the Code It Live sessions that you do, guys. Any other blog posts and something like that. That's huge for our Kendo and Telerik, suite.
Awesome.
And it's here for us. That's it for me. Thank you guys.
Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Time for the Kendo UI jQuery updates. That's right. Let's get in. All right. Now, there are some that have a bit of duplication, but that's just fine. If you're just now tuning in for these jQuery updates or you're watching this recording later, I'm going to explain them like you've never heard of them before. So this is the new AIPrompt component, and it empowers you to essentially use AI commands with this brand new Kendo UI for jQuery AIPrompt. The component is focused on providing users with a modern interface to interact with AI services while enhancing usability for devs. A lot of these updates I've realized, I'm realizing, yes, it's good for the users, but a lot of our things are great for developer experience. So I'm loving it. I'm loving the new trend. The next new component for jQuery is the property grid. This enables you to display and edit object properties and attributes. And it's basically a convenient way to view and modify these object properties with a built-in template that you can change the appearance or how the data is rendered. I have a little screenshot there. And similar to the rest of the components in our suite, the property grid is accessible for screen readers, of course supports ARIA attributes, and offers various keyboard shortcuts for faster navigation. Boop, boop, boop. The Sankey diagram. We also got the Sankey diagram in jQuery. And this diagram enables you to easily create a visual changing flow chart. It's beautiful. Just wait till you, there it is. There she is. And essentially it's great for things like budget breakdowns, website traffic, energy flow, but you can see in my GIF where I'm hovering over and it will essentially spell out, here is this group of females, the entire group of females that's using tablets. And then over on the right-hand side, it breaks them down by age of less than 18 years old or older than 18. And then you can see how it flows for older than 18, how they flow from tablet down through mobile and into desktop. So it's kind of it's a different way of viewing data, and I'm here for it. I love it. Next, but not least, is the toggle button component that was added. This new toggle button component enables you to complement the text buttons with images or icons and enhance your app's user experience. Among the component's highlights is the ability to customize its appearance and switch between a variety of themes and swatches based on your application's designs and requirements. So, the toggle button. Let us all hail. jQuery also got prefix and suffix support for a specific list of inputs. So now you can enhance the visual and functional aspects of many jQuery components by using custom adornments in the form of prefixes or suffixes. So here is an input that has both a prefix and a suffix, but text box is not the only thing that you can do this now easily with. You can do text box, numeric text box, masked text box, text area, combo box, multi-column combo box, and the multi-select. So it's quite a long list that come out in this release with this prefix and suffix support. I put it as new and not update because to me it feels like a new thing. But oh, autocomplete, how could I forget you? The list doesn't stop there. Autocomplete also. All right, so I exported my slides that have Angular and also jQuery goodies, and Cindy put them in the handouts section. I labeled mine very conveniently KUI for Kendo UI -release. So that's the PDF that if you want to follow along or click on some links from earlier. But yes, next is grid updates. The Kendo UI for jQuery Grid now includes the following enhancements. Prepare yourself, there's a lot. The ability to show or hide multiple columns, loading indicators showing progress when exporting the grid to Excel, ability to re-render specific rows only. And then we're going to pop over to editor, but I think we might go back to the grid. We'll see. I kind of bunny hopped around. So the editor has a lot of enhancements as well. Individual padding for table cells, line spacing and paragraph markers. And then here is a little screenshot of the editor. She's looking good. She's looking real good. So check that out. If you're using the editor, you can now use those today. Our date picker now has improved date editing. And so what do I mean by that? Let's get the screenshot up and we'll talk about it. So the jQuery calendar, multi-view calendar, and date range picker components now have unified rendering, improved date editing for a seamless user experience. So check out those three components if you're using them. Their date editing has been enhanced this release. We're back to the grid with selection aggregates. So the jQuery DataGrid now enables users to get a quick snapshot of some of the most important aggregates based on selected data. So you can use a built-in approach and display the metrics in the status bar at the bottom of the grid or create your own elements displaying the data. And I do have a screenshot. Apologies, she's a bit small. But that is not the only next update. I think there was like 10 for the grid. Did your grid get as many like updates? I know, like I think to myself, there's nothing more they could add to the grid, and then they always surprise me. So the jQuery DataGrid now supports global columns, a global columns menu. And this is basically a place to have a customizable button on the toolbar to show, hide, resize specific grid columns, as well as the clear all filters. And so yes, the toolbar columns menu was added to the grid. We're still not done yet though. Paste from Excel. So there is a lot of interaction comparison, whether you're using the jQuery grid or the Angular grid, whoever's grid you're using. We are oftentimes needing to be compatible with or integrated with or going to or from or having all the same features as an Excel grid. It's just part of the work of dealing with large amounts of data. So the Kendo UI jQuery data grid now enables users to paste content from an Excel sheet to the grid table cells. And I think I didn't have a screenshot for that. Check out the docs for more. But now we're bunny hopping back over, or not, back over because we are on Sankey. So to charts. So the charts have a legend display. It enables you to customize the legend of the component series. And you have the option to customize either the entire legend or just, I think I was going to try to see if I have a GIF or just a specific series. I think at some point she was Giphy. So I wanted to flash these up. We're nearing the end of our show. I'm Alyssa Nicoll on X, and Kendo UI, of course, is the handle. If you have any questions, you can always add us, or just wins that you want to celebrate with us. Also, my DM is always open, so ping me if you have any questions there. A poll, you say. We have a poll that's not necessarily related to any of them. So any of our specific frameworks. So I decided to put it here. Which server-side technology do you primarily use with Kendo UI? So I can't read those options if you could, Kathryn.
Yeah, it's Sharp.net, PHP Laravel, Java Spring MVC, Node.js, or other. Please tell us in the Q&A panel.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm doing a lot of like getting into .NET right now. So it seems like 84%, 85, 86 are doing .NET, 2% with PHP and Laravel. Java and Spring, honestly, that's at 10% right now. I'm not surprised. I'm kind of surprised that's not higher because of the hype. I keep running into like my backend friends that are using that. And 2% other. Ooh. Do we have the, like, I'm like, what else are you, like Ruby on Rails? What are you
Possibly,
using?
yeah. I haven't seen anything come through in the Q&A yet. So whoever you are, 2%, keep your secrets.
I think that is a wrap. If there's any other questions we want to answer live, now is the time to voice them. But I just want to say thank you to the chat for all of your beautiful questions and comments. You are lively as ever, and we appreciate you.
Yep. And of course, I want to throw out one final thank you to all of our wonderful development teams who, of course, we cannot do this without. They put in a tremendous amount of work before every release, getting everything ready for you. They put in a tremendous amount of work choosing what's next and are wonderful stewards of all of our products. Literally impossible without them. So
awesome. Well, have a wonderful morning or afternoon or evening wherever you are, and we'll see you for the next one or on June 17th. Code It Live.
Thanks so much.